Likutei Moharan. So we explained that Chava is a euphemism for talking, but I'm not sure that the word euphemism is exactly the right English word for that, but it sort of like says what I'm trying to say. And that's another name for. That Chava is another name for talking, which is another name for Laila. And we said that the Dibur of Lashon Kodesh is praised immensely in the pasuk Lazois Yikore Isha. To this one, female, to this female entity, Yikore Isha will be named a woman. Chazal said this is the proof that the world was created in Lashon Kodesh. Kimi Ish V'kach Hazois. When he brings here another ayah, another proof. Lazois, Zois is Dibur. Zois is another way of calling the act of speech, of parting information, giving over information. The Zois asher diba lahem. Zois is that which he said to them. So Zois talks about Dibur. La Zois ikara isha, so the Dibur is called an isha. So you have in the praise of Lashon Kodesh already bundled up that it's isha and it's Dibur, and the world was created in Lashon Kodesh, in the letters of Lashon Kodesh. Validei Lashon Kodesh, and it is through. Yes. Validei Lashon Kodesh. Well, Mikol Sheimus, the Kodesh Baruch has elevated us from all the languages, from all of the nations. Dahainu, what does it mean? He elevated us over all the nations. Shekol Sheimus Amim Neifrim al Lashon Kodesh, which means that what happened in Lashon Kodesh comes about, they fall down. It's a principle many times being in Kedusha that works on the seesaw principle. When this one goes up, this one goes down. It says Rome was built from the destruction of Yerushalayim. And vice versa. Yerushalayim is going to be built from the destruction of Rome. The Rebbe says it's a very fundamental principle. It appears in Torah Aleph. When this one goes up, this one goes down. Tzadikim, Yelchubam, Tzadikim are elevated through Darkei Hashem, and Rishonim Koshlubam, Rishonim falter through them, from the same bomb. It's a seesaw principle, so we have the same thing over here. All the languages of all the nations, they fall through Lashon Kodesh. What does it mean that they fall? It does not mean that we win the World Series or the Champions League championship. It doesn't mean that. I know you might have thought maybe it does, or it doesn't mean that. Prize doesn't mean that. What does it mean? In other words, the bad that particular nation has a majority stockholding in, because every single nation has a certain achiza, has what do you call national, how should I say it, attributes, a certain kind of, some kind of national specialty, with which they're shkutzim, with which they're like, is a certain medium raw that is theirs from the get-go, from the bria. And this particular band of the nations, nisbatel v'noifel al-dei Loshen Kodesh. When the Loshen Kodesh surges and is elevated, it brings down seesaw, the bad traits, the midas res of Yeshonas Akum. Ve'elo shlito al Yisrael. What does it mean to bring it down? To go and remain. The shkutzim, latvata shkutzim. What happens? They don't have control over Yisrael. In order to, obviously, to trip them up with midas res. And this is accomplished, first of all, with the Diburim Kedoshim, so we'll start with them. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol yamid v'loim. This starts when a person is merabah, when a person pours a lot of heilige Diburim, of Torah, and Tefillah, especially Israelis. And he's very careful not to speak bad diburim, damaged diburim, Lashon hara, or flies, dvarim b'teilim, and rechilus and stuff like that. And his dibur, then his very talking gets the attribute of shleimus Lashon Kodesh, the perfection of Lashon Kodesh. And with this, he's started to break down all the titles. In Likutei Moharan, he says that even though when you make his Beidus, you're doing it with your own language, like in English or in Yiddish or whatever it is, still, it is Shleimus Lashon Kodesh. It constitutes a Shleimus Lashon Kodesh. In Torah Kuf Yud base, the Rebbe speaks about the inyan of when a person finds himself in a quagmire. Because usually the way it is a person is in trouble. Instead of honesty, openness, and willingness to find a real true solution, people usually have, sorry about that. It's just we have a little bit. People usually have ideas. Unbelievable idea. You know how I'm going to do this? And he finds some kind of a shortcut. Now, or if a person doesn't really feel like doing something, so he's more ahead to himself not to do it. That changes the whole mahalach, the whole conduct of a person in a very subtle but in the same time very dramatic way. What happens is, we spoke about it a few times, what happens is that it contaminates your definition of true north, of your moral compass. Just a tiny bit. So it is really straight, now it's too much to the left. And what is really too much to the right, that's straight. Furthermore, the principle of helping out your GPS, the GPS of your conscience, also becomes an okay thing. So the next time, obviously, there's another obstacle, there's another correction, market correction, so to speak. Inevitably, when a person continues along that way, he finds himself like a fly caught up in spider webs, which is an excellent mashal. The more the spider fights the thing, the more it gets entangled in the web. There's another reason why this is a very good mashal. The Rebbe says that the only way out, when a person is caught up in this jail, and he doesn't, and eventually you just don't know when the heck did he get so crazy. I mean, like, gray market, this, that, it's like, forget about it. The answer is to be emistic. To speak before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Dibur Emes. Dibur Emes according to Yom Madrega. It is still very, very far from the real truth. The Rebbe says the person has to daven all his life to once in a lifetime say Dibur Emes, Emes Lamito, HaKadosh Baruch Hu proper. But still, to say Dibur Emes HaKadosh Baruch Hu the way you are, he says that the Rebbe says there are openings in the darkness that envelops a person who is caught up when his shtuyot catch up with him. And it makes the situation seem totally untenable. I mean, just like there's no way out. There is a way out. Alright, you came in. Right? You can't. Somehow you got into jail, so there's a way out of jail. There's always a way out. But, like a fool, try moving in the dark. All you're going to do is just bump into the walls. Now, he says that Dibur Emes, a word of truth, words of truth, they bring, because the truth is the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when you say Dibur Emes, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. When the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is light. Mimele, Hashem Ori. When you're speaking Dibur Emes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shines. When he shines to you, when he illuminates to you, you see the way out. That's why he says, Hashem Oiri Ve'ishi. Hashem comes, illuminates to you, you see the way out. Now, the way out that you see, how effective it is, how long-reaching it is, how all depends on the level of the emes. So the Maaseh, you do it step by step. First of all, the first degree of emes is saying, yo, I'm in trouble. Because the first impetus is denial. I'm fine, no, I'm fine. Everything is under control, I'll get out of it, don't worry about it. first step is, I'm powerless over this. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me, and I'm messed up. I'm really messed up. It can be messed up outside, with money or with relationship with family, or messed up internally. I don't have any menucha. I don't know which way to go. The first thing is emes. You speak the word emes. And the Rebbe brings over there, he says it on the pasuk. I'm just like chucking my head. I'm sorry for all these corrections. He says from the teva of Noach, and he says petach hateva b'tzid hatosim. This is shni. It says ve'el amar techalena milmara. Pesach HaTeva, Pesach Tasel HaTeva, you should make an opening to the table. So Rashi says it actually means a source. Tzohar. What's a tzohar? Tzohar means it's a source of illumination. So Rashi says that there are two shittas about what it actually means. One shitta says it's a window. And the other shita says it's a precious stone that emits light, either it's phosphorus or whatever it is. It emits light. It's light emitting precious gem, either one. And it says ve'lama tichlenu l'mala, and al pshat, it means that the roof of the ark was tapering up. And on top there was a shtickle flat thing, which was 1 cubit width. Vel amo, to a width of amo, it tapers up. It'll end up, it will taper. And it wasn't a total spitz, just. So there, the Rebbe explains that v'tzor tasel hatevo, and the source of a relationship to the teva, which teva? The teva is a dibur. That's the word. So the Rebbe says that some people whose their dibur is emistic enough, it doesn't shine. But what it does, it's true enough, it's makabel enough, it's surrendering enough to be open, to be enlightened by somebody from the outside. Like a person gets messed up financially. So for a while he thinks, I can do it until he gets tangled up. And then only when he admits, I can't do this. So he goes to Pahamonim or to Ma'azanim or to one of those organizations and you listen to somebody else. You realize I can't do it, and he tells you, okay, now start out, making a list for 1 month, just write down everything you spend. Don't change anything, just write down everything. You go a little booklet and just write everything you spend. Then after a month you sit down, you look at everything, and you see what you're spending, what is your spending pattern. You build up a certain budget. You say, by being truthful and being willing, being honest, you're open for somebody to shine the truth from the outside of you. Then there's somebody who speaks the Gura Emes that shine themselves. The one that teaches you how to do it, his Diburim shines to you. You're truthful enough so you have a window for the light to come in. His Diburim are shining like a bulb, like a light bulb, like a sun, like a source of light. So he says, "V'tzot aseh l'teva." This is the diburim that you speak. They illuminate. They illuminate the teva. They illuminate the word. Pesach ateva b'tzid atosim. The pasuk says, and an opening. You know, the teva is going to put in the tzido. Al Pipshat means the side. But the Rebbe says, an opening, the teva will show you in the tzido, in that darkness that hunted you, that trapped you. Shon tzayid, hunter. Tzayid befiv. Pesach, a teva b'tzid atosim. The teva is going to put an opening, is going to show you the opening in this trap that you are trapped in. Then he says, "Ve'el amo tachalenu milmalo." Ve'el amo, we said, it means it tapers up to a width of 1 amo. He says, "Ve'el amo," he says, "Mishamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu is yearning for these diburim." Because Kadosh Baruch Hu wants a Metzias here in this world. He wants a Shechina to be in this world. He says, "Ve'el amo tachalenu." What is amo? It's very, very curious. Amo is one of the most unusual ways of breaking down the concept of speaking to its most basic ingredients. What does it mean? What is Amo? Amo is Rashi Tevis Esh, Mayim, fire and water, and the Hay is the 5 tools of the mouth that form the words. The air that comes, we learn in Likutei Moharan, the air that comes out of the lungs is hot air, which comes from lachus, from wetness, for dampness, and heat. Because the lung, that's the radiator of the heart, right? Mm-hmm. So the air that comes out of the throat, to be able to speak, it has to be moist, it has to be warm. These are 2 attributes of Esh and Mayim, fire and water. Now, that fire and water which is going out in the throat has to go through 5 wind instruments. The vocal cords, it has to go through the we're sorry. It is the throat, it's not the vocal cords, it's the throat, the back of the throat, the top of the mouth, the teeth, the tongue, the lips. They're all tools which you blow that moist, hot air and you form the words. What happened is that you combined the principle of truth, of saying something which is factual, which is a spiritual principle, with the most basic physical attributes of Dibur. Nothing is more physical than the Rebbe says, "Vel amo," the Kodesh Baruch Hu yearns dafka for the amo, for that physical dibur. He resides in it. You take this physical dibur and you connect it with the emes, which is the spiritual principle, which is the signatory ring, the stamp for Kodesh Baruch Hu. What do you get? You get light. A dibur, Lashon Kodesh, is an unbelievably powerful thing. The desecration of Lashon Kodesh is just as powerful. Many levels, we're learning in the Gemara, many levels of desecration of Lashon Kodesh, as we will learn. But we will finish right here. We'll continue Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow.